Well, Jim, we all know that song, Finding Love in a Hopeless Place. And I think Joe Biden found love in a hopeless place, Capitol Hill.
Right.
And I think about that today because all the wins were pointing to Joe Biden's policy priorities are dead on arrival. Is his policy agenda even going to make it through 2021? So what he got today was really that win. What his administration had been saying, they said, just wait for it. Joe is going to get this done. And he did get this done. For all that's been said and was said by the former President Trump of his deal maker status, of his ability to forge compromise and get things done, well, the former president wasn't able to do it. It was Joe Biden, our current president, that really delivered for the American people today. And I think we ought to give credit where it's due. This was a tough fight in some ways. It shouldn't have been, but it's happened. And we're going to see this historic investment in our aging infrastructure, which I think a lot of Americans will start to see the actual benefit really quickly. Well, this is the era we're living in, Jim. It seems kind of surreal to many of us who have made our careers on Capitol Hill and gone into the private sector. And for me, a longtime operative, before I really stepped firmly into the pro-democracy lane just a few years ago, I am disappointed by the rhetoric coming out of Washington. And this is something that's almost cliche. People are like, probably rolling their eyes. How are you disappointed? It's been toxic for a while. But the very fact that 13 Republicans who are doing their job, passing legislation that their constituents wanted and that would benefit their constituents, the fact that they're being labeled as traitors, that's really dangerous language and takes us into a totally new territory that isn't just about the rhetoric anymore. It's about what are people feeling animosity-wise, a level of animosity on Capitol Hill for the very people who chose to put country over party. Of those 13, 3 Republicans we know, Kinzinger, Gonzalez, and Katko, are not seeking re-election. And again, of those 13, only one is a woman, Nicole Maliotakis of New York, representing the area of Staten Island. And she's really said it best, if you ask me. She said, this was about my community. This is about what my constituents wanted. And I really believe this thing is going to do a lot of good. And that's why she voted for the bill, and she's being penalized for it. She is a rather junior member of Congress, and doing it to junior members of Congress sets the tone for just how, I guess, how can I put it best? Republicans are going to operate from now forward, and that really troubles me the most. Well, Jim, you draw an important distinction there. So people have got to get this right. What was passed and what was signed into law today by President Biden was BIF, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Deal. And that is what was being referred to as BIF on Capitol Hill for a while. Like now we're looking at BBB. And so Triple B is going to get a Congressional Budget Office score on Friday. So Friday is going to be a pretty crazy day on Capitol Hill for those watchers. And I would just say, yes, be ready to see some real mudslinging, because in Build Back Better, we know that Republicans are going to have more ammo in their messaging. For the infrastructure deal, they really didn't come with much. You look at Leader McCarthy and what he had to say about infrastructure. He really didn't have a good kind of point to make and say this was not a good thing the Democrats did. He sort of cited inflation and like the IRS appointing new people, that kind of stuff. But in Build Back Better, what Republicans are saying is the worst thing is it's the soft infrastructure, the soft stuff that they don't believe the federal government should be spending our taxpayer dollar on. So that's going to be a heck of a lot messier. And I just think, look, there's a lot to be said about Democrats doing this pretty fast and heavy. But I also think it could have benefit them for sort of splicing this out, but we are where we are. So let's just see what Biden is able to get done. Let's watch closely because it's important.
Yeah, Rina Shah, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining me tonight. Good to see you again.